your classrooms look like this, with students that are disengaged, bored, frustrated, and tired? Do you wish your classrooms looked like this? Exciting, engaging, collaborative, and explorative? Then it is time for you to flip your reality upside down. By picking up this book, Emergent Curriculum in the Primary Classroom by Carol Ann Wynn. According to Wynn, we could say that emergent curriculum is building relationships with that which we encounter as we participate with children in knowing the world. The keystone in the Reggio philosophy is the image of children and teachers as capable, resourceful, powerful protagonists of their own experience. Children have so much fun in emergent classrooms. One first grade boy says, "The class is so excited, it's like a birthday party in here." This book contains stories of how emergent curriculum and the Reggio Emilia approach have transformed classrooms. In each of the 9 stories, we learn that children whose interests are acknowledged and supported don't need to be motivated to learn. Their own excitement will keep them learning. A good project is when children and teachers are equally engaged in the activities and ideas being invested. All of the teachers in the stories learn that they should be willing to accept and work with whatever emerges from their students. Teachers should listen to the interests of their students instead of letting their own agenda take over that of the children. There is a fundamental lesson to be learned, which is to give children the right to participate in a democratic lifestyle. If this hasn't already convinced you to pick up this book, here are 3 more reasons. 1. Emergent curriculum enhances curriculum design because it is inquiry-based. 2. It improves our understanding of backwards design because it helps us to change our brain. And 3. Emergent curriculum supports the needs of diverse learners. Emergent curriculum is inquiry-based. According to the Grand Rapids Child Discovery Center, emergent curriculum is a way of teaching and learning that requires teachers to observe and listen to the children. Teachers ask questions and listen for the children's ideas, hypotheses, and theories. After observing children in action, the teachers compare, discuss, and interpret their observations. Teachers plan activities, studies, and long-term projects in the classroom based on their observations. Teachers partner with children, and the exchange of theories are referred to as the cycle of inquiry. Teachers use their interpretations, intentions, and goals, social, emotional, and academic, to make choices that they share with children. Learning is not seen as a linear process, but as a spiraling progression. The fact that emergent curriculum is inquiry-based reminds me of the TED Talk by Sir Ken Robinson. In the TED Talk, Sir Ken Robinson said, "There was a great study done recently on divergent thinking, published a couple years ago. Divergent thinking isn't the same thing as creativity. I define creativity as the process of having original ideas which have value. Divergent thinking isn't a synonym, but it's an essential capacity for creativity. It's the ability to see lots of possible answers to a question, lots of possible ways of interpreting a question, to think what Edward de Bono publicly called laterally, to think not just in linear or convergent ways, to see multiple answers and not one." When Sir Ted talks about thinking divergently and not linearly, he means giving students the opportunity to engage in active, hands-on inquiry. Teachers can facilitate this by engaging students in project-based learning where they practice skills in creativity, collaboration, communication, and critical thinking. When students face real-world problems, they learn that there is not just one solution. They learn how to think creatively and how to come up with multiple solutions, because that is what happens in real life. As Grant Lichtman said, we shouldn't be afraid of change because it's not hard. even though it may feel uncomfortable. We need to ask questions because inquiry is the greatest skeleton key to critical thinking, according to Green in 2017. I think it's hard to challenge how the education system is currently working because it boxes us in and makes us conform to its standards. But if we truly want our students to grow and learn, then we need to challenge the system and start a change with our own hands in our own classrooms. As Grant Lichtman spoke, we need to aggressively start to implement and actively start innovating. We can't just wait for more and more generations to miss out on great learning opportunities. Like many things that we have learned in this course, you have to change your mindset. You have to change your brain. You can't be afraid of this change. Change may look hard, but it is worth it. When Wendy Gilchrist first encountered the Reggio ideas, she felt they were strange. But she said, "I have to resurface my brain, resurface my old way of thinking. The biggest resurfacing of my brain deals with my image of the child and my role as a teacher. I see children so differently now. It is so true that I would have left the field if I had not had the Reggio inspiration." This necessity to change is relevant to understanding by design. Instead of designing ineffective curriculum like we are used to doing, we need to change our brain and work backwards. We first need to clearly identify the big ideas and the skills we want our students to attain. Once this is established, we can determine the assessments that will give us the acceptable evidence. Finally, with the desired results and how students are going to provide evidence, we can then plan learning experiences and instruction. We have to keep in mind that teachers are like students. We are all on this journey from beginner to expert. And we have to show our students that it is okay. It is okay to be on any part of that journey, as long as you are making progress. Sometimes you will go back, sometimes you will go back to beginner. But you know what? If you go back to beginner, it's because it was supposed to happen. We just have to keep remembering that that is a part of the journey. It's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay to go backwards. This brings me to the cognitive knot. Leanne talks about the cognitive knot as a time when you are stuck. Reggio educators believe this means not knowing how to proceed. When we are on the journey from novice to expert, we will face many cognitive knots. An emergent curriculum allows teachers to challenge themselves to push through cognitive knots because good teachers plan and let go. Teachers must remember that we teach children, not curriculum. We may face many challenges that will lead us to new directions. And this means that we need to be flexible so that children can have learning opportunities that are responsive and meaningful. As teachers, we can model to students how to push through cognitive knots so that they know that they can persevere when they face them. According to Leanne in 2009, when students solve problems, they have a feeling of pleasure and satisfaction. And neuroscience tells us that the positive emotions in learning are generated in the parts of the brain that are used most heavily when students develop their own ideas. Page 33. With emergent curriculum and the Reggio Emilia approach, students are able to co-construct and develop knowledge with their teachers, which builds positive emotions and enhances brain function. Because all children are different and learn differently, we must adapt to their diverse needs. The emergent curriculum is great because it reminds us to give our students unhurried time. As teachers, we get bogged down by trying to check off the linear lists of expectations, but we must understand the importance of giving children the time to experience, explore, and discover. According to Leanne 2008, unhurried time is ecologically sound in that it respects children's own pace and activity, giving them sufficient time and space to experience satisfaction and permit an organic close to activities. Page 147. To close, emergent curriculum and the Reggio Emilia approach enhance curriculum design because it illustrates the importance of inquiry. Students don't learn by just listening to lectures. Students learn by doing. Our students are real people, who need to actively engage with the content to construct meaning for themselves. Emergent curriculum and the Reggio Emilia approach helps us to understand backwards design because we need to learn to change our mindset, and we need to understand that we are all on the journey from novice to expert. Finally, emergent curriculum and the Reggio Emilia approach supports diverse learners because it is intuitive and allows teachers to listen to the various needs of each child in order to adapt instruction to best fit their needs.